Hey guys, before the video starts, I just want to thank you all for 1K subscribers. To celebrate this milestone, the next video I make is going to be a celebration video with a Q&A section where you can ask me questions about anything, I guess. If you're interested in participating and want to ask me a question, go on over to my Twitter and drop your questions in the pinned post of my profile here. I will read your questions in the video if you're interested. Thank you all so much once again. Now back to some Just Set Radio content. Viewers beware, because I'm here to tell you about shipping. Shipping is described as the act or practice of discussing, writing about, or hoping for a romantic relationship between fictional characters as in fan fiction or between famous people, whether or not the romance actually exists in the book, show, etc., or in real life. It's all prevalent in all forms of fictional media. However, don't do it in real life. You're a weirdo if you do that. I'm certainly no stranger to shipping characters as a former fanfiction writer myself. I like Sonic and Blaze being together. Persona allows me to pick whichever character I love to see the protagonist with. Unless it's Persona 3 and you're forced to be a... I also prefer Parappa to be with Lammy than Sunny. And of course, Just Set Radio is no different. Of course there's shipping in Just Set Radio. No matter how niche your franchise is, if there's two characters you think would be perfect for each other, you're gonna manifest it in your mind and make it happen. Just Set Radio actually has a healthy amount of characters to where you can actually do quite a number of pairings. Just Set Radio may not be the most story driven, and its characters aren't super deep, but the nice thing about it is that there's enough information, at least in future, to work with established stuff and enough room to build upon the world and put your own unique spin with a headcanon. For example, I ship Beat and Gum together. Beat is the cocky, confident, reckless guy, and Gum is the one to keep him in check and level-headed. Gum is not as expressive with her emotions and is a bit of a tsundere, while B is the type to openly show off and brag about his girlfriend and how badass she is. And I mean, they're the poster characters in the franchise and they're always together, even in the crossovers, so lots of room to make headcanons about them. Maybe you like Beat and Corn together, the friendly rivalry into lovers trope. Maybe you like the outgoing and chill character with the very reserved and socially awkward character. Boogie and Soda is pretty good for that dynamic. Cube and Combo gets shipped due to their connection in the OG game. I like putting Corn and Cube together as they are leaders with completely different perspectives on life, but have a sense of great respect and admiration for each other. People like shipping Cube with Gum because... honestly, I don't know. I've always been curious about that one, but who wouldn't want Cube? She's the GOAT. By icon. However, there is one character who is part of the top 2 pairings in this series to reign over everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you this demonic gremlin that we call a human being. This is Yoyo. Yoyo is one of the recruitable characters in the OG game, and he's actually the first character you play in Just Set Radio Future. Compared to the other usual popular characters in Just Set Radio, Yoyo is definitely up there in the top 5, maybe top 3 for a lot of people. He's even recognized by the casual audience too when it comes to Just Set Radio. So what is it about Yoyo that makes him so popular amongst the audience? Well, just look at him. That shit-eating grin alone is everything you need to know about him. Yoyo is the definition of a gremlin and a troublemaker. The one consistent trait about him is that he is a liar. He is untrustworthy. He spreads misinformation, much like what happens in the Just Set Radio community. Despite this being a trait that he has, it's actually not really shown at all in his dialogue in Just Set Radio Future. Kinda similar to Gum's Heartbreaker persona, which is a little bit disappointing honestly. Funnily enough though, according to Yoyo, he's actually not the biggest liar, at least compared to Rapid99. Yoyo is one of the few characters who did get a major change in redesign in his transition to Future, going from his super baggy hoodie and sweatpants to wearing a hoodie that actually fits him and shorts. Of course, the biggest change being the hair color going from orange to green. Side note, I'm actually the same height as OG Yoyo. He's 5'3" and I'm also 5'3". The thing that stayed consistent with Yoyo is the cheap 3D glasses, but they're also a different color. Then there's his voice.
Yo!
The most iconic thing about Yoyo is definitely his voice. I mean, my goodness, it's a good thing words were kept to a minimum with this guy. Because imagine having to speak full-on sentences with that voice. What would that even sound like? Whomever is Yoyo's voice actor, you did a fantastic job at making my man sound so unique. Now that we established just who Yoyo is, now we must discuss why he has the rizz secret formula to be in the top 2 most popular pairings in Jet Set Radio. Let's start with the most common one I've seen and the one I'm more familiar with. This is Mew, or Riff, or Biss, whatever you want to call her. Another very popular character amongst the community. I'd say she's right next to Yoyo in terms of popularity. I'd go as far as say she's the gatekeeper between who the Jet Set Radio community loves and who they choose to completely forget. That's a topic for another day. Mew is one of the early recruitments in the OG Jet Set Radio, and in future, Riff is the first optional recruitment that you can get early in Rakakudai Heights. The thing that's so attractive about Mew Riff is her design. She's blue, all around, just all blue with a dash of pink. I'm biased towards the color blue because it's my favorite color, but blue is naturally just a soothing and sweet color. Mew's transition to Riff in future actually retained quite a lot of the same elements from her OG design. She's still completely blue, the stockings are still there, the headphones are the same, the pink symbol on her chest is now a ghetto makeshift bra she made out of doohickeys you probably found. She switched out the puffy and fluffy winter sweater for a sundress. She also has these clear hand stockings that I always thought looked a little weird on her. Mew's design is such a simple but effective one. Riff is a bit of a small update to fit the future style. Also, if you couldn't tell from her idol dance and her voice, Mew Riff is the definition of the cute one. Like, infectiously cute.
Let's go! Let's go!
Brought this up in my video talking about the story of Jet Set Radio, but Riff is a very strange individual. She's overall very bubbly and a little ditzy. She's either complimenting on things like Combo having a cute necklace or Poison Jam being cute. Or she kinda knows a little more than she lets on, like when she comments on collecting the golden rhino pins for no explainable reason. But how does this all relate back to her relationship with Yoyo? Why do people ship them in the first place? It all starts with this interaction between Yoyo and Riff the moment you recruit her in Chapter 2. Yoyo is all flustered by Riff's cuteness. This is the fuel to the fire. In Chapter 6 during the Noise Take invasion, when you talk to Riff, she says that Yoyo is not that kind of person who would hurt and betray them like this. And then it turns out she was right. After everything that's happened to them at that point, she still believes in Yoyo to not be that kind of person. With these few interactions, it's no wonder that Yoyo and Riff started to set sail as a ship. But outside of the game, how do people write and draw their dynamics? There's a few ways these two have been portrayed. They've been portrayed as two goofballs with zero relationship skills, hopelessly in love with each other and are just happy being goofy together. There's also taking Yoyo's trait of being a liar and applying it to impress Riff. This is the benefit of fanworks, taking things that weren't fully explored in the source material and expanding it in your own way. Okay, so Yoyo thinks that he's out of Riff's league to be able to date her. So he makes up lies to try and make himself look cooler than he actually is to impress Riff. There's a few things this type of dynamic can result in. Riff buys into these lies and get impressed by Yoyo, which prompts Yoyo to have to back up his words and prove himself to be good enough for her. Or 2, she's always doubtful of Yoyo's lies, but she sees that he's trying his best to impress her and she finds that very flattering. Yoyo is stupid, but she likes that about him. But this all can lead to the same conclusion. Yoyo starts being more true to himself towards Riff and she likes Yoyo for who he is, which just makes you feel warm and fuzzy in your tummy. Also, if you're wondering who wears the pants in a relationship, it's Riff. Now we've established the Mu-Riff-Yoyo pairing, we gotta go to the other side of the spectrum, being Yoyo and B. But I'm gonna be honest, I am not too well versed with this pairing despite it being popular, and I'm not much of a yaoi guy. But I do know a certain someone who is more well versed in this field. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you all to a wonderful friend of mine, the biggest yo-yo simp, the most sane yo-yo fan, a pioneer in beat yo shipping. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Raditatat. Hey Rad, it's time for you to get out the gremlin cage. We're talking about yo-yo today. You could leave Morgana to rot.
Lady on.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage.
Listen, RS, you shouldn't even think to make a yo-yo-centered video without the king himself. I'm actually gonna slit your throat. On the topic of yo-yo, let's dive into one of the most beloved ships in the community. No, I'm not talking about the canon ones like Rizz and Yoyo.
Hi, Yoyo.
I'm talking about Beat Yo. For those unaware, TVTropes.org defines this ship as belligerent sexual tension. At the end of the day, they're both still gonna hate each other no matter what. And we all love a little drama in our romance. I know I do. Now I know what you might be saying. Oh, Raditatat, a pairing like this already exists. And it has a canon leg to stand on. You might be right, but let me tell you why you're wrong. Take a look at this comparison. You might not think anything is out of the ordinary. That is, until you do the Pythagorean theorem. And then the differences are like night and day. You see, Yoyo is what we like to call a pretty boy. And if history has taught us anything, it's that people love a pretty boy. And you'd think this would apply to both Yoyos. As the character artist behind the original Yoyo said, "Oh no, he's not overweight, he's just wearing baggy clothes." But everyone really knows he's just lying. So yeah, TLDR, there's a lot of ways to approach this ship. But they're all gay.
In conclusion, Yoyo's personality opens up a lot of good dynamics with his fellow characters to be able to work in a lot of scenarios when it comes to shipping. He can end up being one of the more layered characters in fanworks. With his design, erratic voice, and mischievous attitude, there's a reason why Yoyo has the most rizz compared to any other guy in Jet Set Radio.
The man.
Thank you all for watching. Special thanks to my friend Rad for being a part of my video. It wouldn't have been a Yoyo video without them, and I really appreciate them truly for collabing with me. If you liked the video, make sure you like and comment your thoughts down below. If you're interested in seeing more of my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button with the bell notification on so you can know when my next upload is. You can also follow me on my Twitters to get an update of what I'm up to. Thank you all for watching, and take care.